Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is November the 30th, 2019. Let's see. Strong hand. Unconfiscatable. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Strive for greatness, people. This is a golden age. Deferral of gratification. We're going to talk about long-term thinking tonight. All right. Yeah, it's late at night all over the United States. But hey, the system is a new show every day. So you're getting your Beyond Bitcoin show. You can get a nice shirt like this linked to below. Where in the world is Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, I know where I am. I'm in Baltimore, but I've been all around the world lately. Good to be back. If you've got suggestions on where to go after I'm in Tucson for a month, share them in the chat. If you have any questions, there'll be time for questions. You could type in Bitcoin Meister in the super chats in the chat. Send a super chat if you want to. Also, that'll get my attention. And of course, if you're not watching this live, play this at 2x. Be very efficient. Yeah, someone just pounded that like button. Thank you. We'll. So hello, my elite friends. We're going to start off with a tweet by Jameson Lopp. Yeah, he's a Bitcoin guy, but he could be included in Beyond Bitcoin, right? Here it is. Drama, fear-mongering, and politics are to the mind what sugar is for the body. Your primitive monkey brain craves them because in the not-so-distant past, they were important for survival. But in the modern age, you must fight these desires to protect your health. So yeah, politics in the not-so-distant past, it was necessary. It was somewhat necessary, at least. And now it's just a show. Now it's just a sickness. But some people crave it still. Just like in the past, you needed a little bit of sugar. You needed a little bit. And people know they need a little, but now there's just a plethora of it, and they just gorge their faces with it. Just like you can gorge your faces with, you don't need sugar anymore. You don't need politics anymore. Sure, there's a couple little political things you do here and there. There's a couple little bits of sugar you need here and there, but don't go all in because you get sick. So consider all that noise sugar that's going to get you fat. Yes, of course, you'll still have your apple every once in a while, but don't go crazy with the candy bars. So don't. This is an interesting tweet to learn from. You do not need, in the modern world, politics. It's obsolete. You don't need it for survival anymore. You don't need the fear mongering. You don't need the drama anymore. Those are things of the past that you can live a very worthwhile life just by living in the Bitcoin overlay, not caring, not voting, not getting into all the drama. Now, with all that being said, once a week you get your little sugar hit, right? With the Beyond Bitcoin show, because we talk about politics here in terms of, we kind of analyze what the 80%ers are thinking. It's a good idea to know what the masses are thinking, what some of those trends are, what noise is that you should avoid. And anyway, so let me see if anybody. Hey, Roman Q is in the house. How you doing, dude? Yes, happy. I still, Americans are not on the web very much. By the way, this week in Bitcoin, I wanted to say, check out disruptmeister.com. Follow me on Twitter at techbalt, TECHBALT, and at techbalt.com. You can see all of this week in Bitcoins. Also at disruptmeister.com. But Friday's show, Vlad was on and Boris was on. Ken Bozek was supposed to be on, but he got sick. Thanksgiving and you can get food poisoning, and it's Ken. But it was live again. I can do live interviews on YouTube once again, thanks to Jitsi. I was in motion it was frustrating not to be able to do YouTube. Change things up, made it hard, but I can still do it, and I don't have to pay anybody a cent because there were people signing up for these paid services. I found my way, baby. This to put on this show cost me nothing. Now, there's most people, there's all sorts of expenses involved, and I am very proud that it's free, baby. It's free. And so I got no complaints about YouTube. I'll bring up their issues and everything, but I'm rolling with the punches, and I'm punching back, baby. So watch that show, and we'll do some more live interviews. And so that means you guys can comment in the chat during the show for those who love live interviews and that kind of thing. So Andy Hoffman will be on Thursday, and I'm sure there'll be people that have many questions for him, be it Bitcoin, MWC, whatever. We'll talk about everything in life. All right, pound that like button. It's beyond Bitcoin. Yeah, a lot of you dudes, it's a little different. I do what I want to do. This is the best Bitcoin channel out there, but you never know what the heck you're going to get. You're going to get a little bit of Beyond Bitcoin. You get This Week in Bitcoin. Is it going to be live? What shirt is Adam going to be wearing? And of course, it's your home for Bitcoin insider information, where you learned about MWC, all the crypto dividends, and your hand just gets stronger and stronger, baby. Success, the success system. We'll talk about that in a second, baby. Woo! Woo! Like Ric Flair. All right. Another tweet. What is this? James Clear. This dude has some good tweets, some inspirational tweets. And the Beyond Bitcoin show, it's out there. It's out there to help inspire you a little bit too. Let's see. Aim to be great in 10 years. Build health habits today that lead to a great body in 10 years. I like that. Build social habits today that lead to great relationships in 10 years. Okay. Build learning habits today that lead to great knowledge in 10 years. Now that's really important. Long-term thinking is a secret weapon, he says. Hey man, that's insider information. It shouldn't be a secret weapon. Everyone should be able to defer gratification and plan for the long term and make themselves better. Do the hard work today, lay the groundwork today. So in 10 years, you're maxing and relaxing. Your brain is exploding with knowledge, and you know your way around life, baby. And you're just beating the 80%ers into the ground. You're in the Bitcoin overlay. You're seeing things a completely different way. But most people, they'd rather party it up, get fat, get drunk, go with the herd. And then in 10 years, they're still doing the same thing. They're still trying to catch up with the Joneses. And there's really not much success there. And there's a lot of unhappiness. But hey, personal responsibility is a new kind of culture. You go your own way. Long-term thinking is a secret weapon. Just maybe that'll inspire some people to change their ways. Here is something for you privacy freaks out there. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a forceful opinion today, and this is everything I talk about is linked to below. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a forceful opinion today, holding that the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects individuals from being forced to disclose the passcode to their devices to police. In a 4-3 decision in the Commonwealth versus Davis, the court found that disclosing a password is testimony protected by the Fifth Amendment's privilege against self-incrimination. That is awesome, because there are a lot of people that say, well, someone can force you to give your Trezor password. Someone can force you to do this. Hey, that's another ruling in favor of logic and reason and lawfulness there. They can't force you to give your password to your Facebook, to your device, to whatever there. So that was cool. That's good news. You're not hearing much about that. Now, something that was in the news lately that I have, look, we got some. All right, no one said Bitcoin. Remember, if you got a question, you got to type in Bitcoin Meister. We got some interesting people over there. Mind the Gap is in the house. How you doing, dude? Pound that like button. Okay. Where was I? Okay, something that has been in the news. The Trump administration, it was controversial that they said that Judea and Samaria weren't against international law, but people call those settlements in Israel. It's part of Israel, Judea and Samaria. I have been there. Now, some of you know that as the West Bank. What the heck's the West Bank? It's Judea and Samaria. You're driving around, the signs say Judea and Samaria. That's what it is. Now, I did a show from Judea and Samaria on January the 10th, 2019. I have a Bitcoin friend there, and he gave me a tour of Judea and Samaria around the town, the Arab town that they call Nablus. And in Hebrew, it's Shechem, right? Nablus is Shechem. So, there are all sorts of cities have two different names there and everything. But anyway, and so I want to talk a little bit about this, because there's everyone it's always like, well, what the Arab-Israeli situation? How is it ever going to be solved? Is Trump going to come up with a magical plan? Let me tell you, it's the solution is already on the ground there. Okay, Roman Q said, Roman, I will read your comment in a second, because you're talking about Bitcoin, but I just want to give these thoughts, because when I was in Adelaide, and it was over a week ago, last Friday, and there was that Christian Zionist man flying the Israeli flag, and there were a few communists flying the PLO flag. And I told him that I had been to Judea and Samaria before, and what it was like on the ground there. And so that's what inspired what I'm about to say here. That first of all, I mean, what the Arabs have to realize, and I think most logical people realize, is that, Israel won. Israel has won. It's theirs. Okay. So if you're going to be there, why don't you don't have to be there. You could leave. They won. If you don't like the rules, you could leave. Now, and so they got their towns there. When you're driving around Judea and Samaria, you're driving around on these roads. The Arabs are driving around on the same roads as you. Now, you as an American, an outsider, as a Jew, as whoever, you can't go into their towns, like Nablus, okay? There's like a guard there, all right? So once you're inside those towns, it's their rules. They do their thing. They're living there. They have their houses, okay? Now, if they shoot something out of those towns, they're going to get shot back at. So because Israel doesn't like when bombs land in their towns. Nobody likes that. I mean, Scott Adams just said, he was talking about the drug cartels in Mexico, and he said that the United States, and I'm going to talk about this on Sunday's regular Bitcoin show, the One Bitcoin show, but the United States is going to designate some drug cartels as terrorist organizations. And so he said, well, some of them might not like that, and there's going to be banks, so they won't get their money from the banks anymore, and so they might not like that, and maybe they'll set up some bombs in the United States. And Scott Adams said, well, if they do that just once, the United States of America should just flatten them. And of course, that's the logical response. If someone from Mexico started bombing Texas, the United States would destroy them. But I mean, so when Israel does that, that's looked upon, that's frowned upon. But I mean, again, that's what happens. They shoot out of Nablus, they shoot out of Gaza, they shoot out of whatever, and then Israel comes with heavy artillery and starts, hitting back because Israel won. Israel is the winner. Okay, they are in charge. So this is the advice. It's already set up quite well there in Judea and Samaria. But we're going to talk about Gaza in a second. Because Gaza, they have it even better. Gaza, they can control the whole. Gaza, the Arabs control the whole thing. They have the whole thing. It's a beautiful beachfront there. Tel Aviv is on the same ocean. Okay, it's on the same body of water. They could have a beautiful beachfront there. They could be peaceful tourists from all over the world. It could be like, what's that? Where did they go? I can't think of the city in the Middle East that they built out of the desert. Whatever. I'm never ever going to go there. But it could actually be a Middle Eastern Arab city, tourist attraction on the water. That's what Gaza could be. They can do their thing. But so just all they have to do, the people, they're frustrated. They lost. They're unhappy that they lost. They want all of it. They want all of Israel. They want pre-1967 Israel. You look at the tweets on Twitter, there are many of the supporters openly admit it. They show the whole map of Israel and they say, this is, they call it by that other name that starts with the P, which does not exist. It just doesn't exist. And they say, will be ours, etc. But it isn't. They lost. Israel is a country of 7 million people. They're going to all leave. They're going to just give it to other people. They built that. They built the whole thing. They built the buildings. They built the infrastructure. You're just going to give it up? Are we just going to give this up to the Native Americans? No, they won. We won. United States won. Israel won. But the Arabs are still there. They're Arabs that live in pre-1967 Israel. They live there peacefully. They follow the rules. They follow the law. If they break the law, they go to jail. So why aren't their brothers in Gaza and again in Judea and Samaria? They behave themselves pretty well. Again, they're shooting things out of the towns and everything, but they can live in their town. In Judea and Samaria, in the towns like Nablus, Bethlehem, whatever, they can just live there. They can live there peacefully. They can then use the roads that Israel built, and they can sell stuff on the road. They're on the road. You should drive. I recommend anyone who goes to Israel to drive around Judea and Samaria. And you literally see these people that you supposedly are in constant war with the Israelis, the Arabs that live in these towns. They're just driving on the roads again. And sometimes they'll throw rocks and stuff. And they shouldn't do that either. They shouldn't be bitter. They should just accept it. They lost. These are the terms. You still get to have your cities. And you don't have to let Jews into your city if you don't want to. You don't have to let Jews or Americans or anybody into your cities, into Nablus. You can look into Nablus, okay? I looked into Nablus. There's houses, they're beautiful houses. They have mosques. You can hear the call to prayer and everything. They're doing their thing, all right? They're doing their thing. And why can't I think of that? I'm like drawing a blank on the name of where in near Saudi Arabia in what's that darn city? I can't even think of it. Someone say the name Dubai. There we go. I couldn't think of Dubai. I keep thinking gutter. I mean, gutter's got, but yeah, Dubai, they built this, all those sheiks built a nice place out of the desert, and it's apparently pretty nice. But it'd be more natural to build it. They could do it there in Gaza. Israel gave them all of Gaza. They had the whole thing. There are no Jews there at all. There's nothing. They're gone. There were Jewish towns there that they abandoned. And once they abandoned them, they like ransacked everything that was left. They ripped down the buildings and the greenhouses and everything. They just destroyed everything. The infrastructure was there. They started ripping everything to shreds. That's animalistic behavior, okay? So, I mean, behave civilized, but behave in a civilized manner. Everything is already set up. You stop throwing bombs out of your area, you'll stop getting bombed. And you'll get to have everything. People want to give them money. I mean, don't they? But again, I mean, don't the rich people in Dubai want to support their brothers over there? I mean, instead, I mean, we know what part of the story is. They use these people as a way to put pressure on Israel for the long-term destruction of Israel. They think that it's going to happen. This is a way to fight Israel with this population of bitter people among them. And it's not going to work. It isn't working. And it's good that Trump has taken a clearly pro-Israel stand here. And the United States, that means the United States has. And these other, I mean, I respect that. I think that's good. It really doesn't make that big of a difference. But they're speaking logic. And you don't get to hear, I mean, when you hear all these people screaming about how bad it is there, have they actually been there? Like I've been there? Like I've seen it? Like I've looked into those cities. I've been driving with them on the roads that Israel built in Judea and Samaria that they are using. I've been on their roads with them. They're driving by. I see they got donkeys on the side, horse and carriage donkeys. Still, I mean, that's their thing. They want to do that. And it's just the sad thing is sometimes when Israelis have to hitchhike all the way out to their cities in Judea and Samaria, sometimes these Arab people jack them and stuff. It's act civilized. Just you lost, and just be cool about it. You have your cities. Be productive. Be productive people, and then. You can have self-governance in those areas, govern it the way you want to. You vote for your own leaders in those cities, and just your country is just a bunch of, if you want to call it a country or whatever, separate city states. They're not connected, but you can use the Israeli roads. You can drive to Gaza and hang out with your boys in Gaza and stuff too. Just act civilized. It's already there. You can't, there's no right at this point, it's like, why take away land from this person, give land to this person, do this and the other. And another, people call it Israeli settlements. Let me tell you something, people. There's cities out there. There are cities on hilltops, okay? And little towns. It's not like a bunch of tents or something like that. It's infrastructure. It's malls. It's like suburbs, okay? People commute into Tel Aviv, commute to other cities. You just can't just destroy all this. And it's productivity. It's normality. It's Western civilization right there. And they should just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Why can't they just be happy with what they have? And Israel and the Jews can be happy with what they have, and they can just all get along. That's it. So stop shooting stuff from your towns into Israel. It's that simple. It's that simple. Because it's Bethlehem, Nablus, whatever you want to call them, the Israelis don't want that. They don't want that. Let the Arabs live there, and they can have their own rules there, and they can make it awesome. If they want Israelis to come in, they can. They should want Israelis to come in. They should want commerce. They should want to be productive. They should want capitalism and product. But instead, to be ever bitter, and they're not all like this. Some of them probably do want this. Some of them are driving on the roads. And again, there are plenty of Arabs that live happily in pre-1967 Israel. In Tel Aviv, you see them. In Beersheba, you see quite a lot, and just be like them. Be happy. You lost. You don't even have to call it a loss. You just live your lives. You don't be violent. Don't be violent. Don't shoot bombs, homemade bombs. You're not taking over Israel. It's not yours. It's not you. You as an individual have your house. You're not losing your house. Okay, be happy with your house. You're living among your own people. If you enjoy living among your own people, be productive. Be productive. Build up your own community instead of trying to tear down somebody else's community. And yeah, you might not like it that they live right near you. Well, just ignore them. Just ignore them. Just ignore the Jews. Ignore the Israelis. All right? So, I mean, you've got your land. You could build developments on your land. Israel can build developments on your land. If you think that hill was yours beforehand, well, you lost the hill, I guess. And now Israel's going to build something on that hill. You've got your hills in your towns. Build some stuff on your hills, okay? Don't be jealous of somebody else's hill that you thought maybe was your hill once or something, all right? It's not your hill anymore. It's not just, this is yours, this is theirs, live with this now and just be happy with it, okay? That's it. You've got the roads, you've got everything modern society wants. And all infrastructure is there. But the solution isn't to take away all the beautiful Western infrastructure and skyscrapers of Tel Aviv and make it yours. That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's a losing proposition. And just stick. And you can have your religion, celebrate it any way you want to. This is the thing. If they just stop shooting stuff out of their areas, out of Bethlehem, Nablus, Gaza, whatever, it would be over. Israel wouldn't shoot stuff into them. People wouldn't Jewish people wouldn't run in there, take their land or something like that. They would invest in there, okay? If those places were peaceful, rich Israelis would love to invest on the Gaza waterfront. I'm sure. They can't go there now. They'll get killed. I mean, literally, there are signs like around Nablus, orange signs. It says no Israelis allowed. It's like something from Germany almost of the 1940s. You know what I'm getting at. But it's enforced by Israel. That's the funny thing. Israel supports it. Like, yeah, we don't want our people going in there because they're going to get killed. And yet Arabs coming to Israel, do they get killed? No, they don't get killed. When Arabs go to pre-1967 Israel, when Arabs go into they can go into Jewish towns. They can go into the Jewish towns in Judea and Samaria. Okay, there are videos of them doing that. They can go there. I'm sure there's if you don't have a way, you don't do anything crazy, you can go in there definitely and shop. They showed some at shopping malls and stuff. Okay, if you act like a normal person, you'll be treated like a normal person. Okay, but if you're bombing from making homemade bombs, because you think you're going to get Tel Aviv one day, or you think you're going to get Jerusalem one day, you're not. You lost. That's it. And you already have parts of Jerusalem. Okay, but Israel's in charge. They're in charge. And if you don't like it, then just move to another country or something. Jordan, I don't know. You're just saying there's no difference between a Jordanian and an Israeli Arab. There's no difference. They're the same people. They're the same exact people. DNA wise, it's nonsense. Except that the Arabs living in Israel live at a much higher standard of living than the ones in Jordan. Okay. It's a much more comfortable life. It's a wealthier life. If you're living in, if you're living in the towns in Judea and Samaria that are Arab controlled, like Nablus and Bethlehem, it's a better life, okay, than living in freaking Jordan or something like that, or these other Arab countries. You see, again, drive around Judea and Samaria yourself. Most of the people on Twitter who saying, destroy Israel, it's all the Arabs, they've never been to Judea and Samaria. And you can see it's normal houses. They got their mosques, they got everything, but and they choose, a few of them choose, and they're being armed by terrorist groups all over the world, all over that region to shoot weapons into Israel. It makes no sense. It's a losing proposition. Why do that? Because they've got bigger guns than you. They won, and they're going to bomb the heck out of you when you shoot your guns into Israel. So stop shooting. Just stop. You lost. You have modern Western infrastructure. So the solution is already on the ground. The solution is already on the ground. You don't hear people talking like this because most people haven't been there. But I mean, and they like to say West Bank and all these terms that are nonsense terms. And the P word, it doesn't exist. It's Israel. It's Israel. The sun, you drive there. It's not like you're walking around. If you're walking around there, you're like, yeah, this is not that much different from pre-1967 part of Israel. It's got the signs and the roads are the same. It's Israeli roads. There's some Arabs on some donkeys on the side, and there's more Arab towns here. But yeah, this is Israel, and yeah, so and then there's some Arab towns here that we can't go into. Okay, that's fine. That should be what it is. And then Israel foolishly gave up Gaza to the Arabs, and okay, so they can keep Gaza, and that's their country there, right? And they can drive into Judea and Samaria, the little towns where their friends live, and everything like that. And if they're not, maybe they can drive in the pre-1967 Israel to visit their friends there too, if they're not bringing guns and weapons and stuff. I mean, it's just about acting civilized and just saying, we didn't win, and it's 52 years ago now. 1967 is 52 years ago, and we lost. We're not getting this. We're not getting Tel Aviv. We're not getting Jerusalem. We're not getting anything. We have what we have. What we have isn't bad. What we have is better than our brothers and sisters in Syria and in all these other ridiculous places. So let's just not stop shooting. That's all. And it's a real easy solution. There's your solution. And then the capitalism will take its course. Many people, if it's peaceful in such a region, with untapped potential, the money will flow in from all over the place, especially into Gaza, which is on the waterfront. All right, so that is there, and that I wanted. It's beyond Bitcoin. I wanted to talk about that. But again, so those of you who are familiar, some people call it the West Bank, but no one calls it's Judea and Samaria. It's called Judea, and that's the part of Israel that's called Judea and Samaria. And so you have these big there's some Arab towns there like Nablus, and around them they're Jewish towns, and they all use the same roads, and they're towns. They're real Jewish towns, but unfortunately, the Jewish towns have to have security. Anyway, long live the Jewish state of Israel. Loved The Spy by Eli Cohen, says Henry Law. Now, Henry Law has been there before. He gave me 30 Hong Kong dollars. Good luck to Hong Kong, by the way. Long live Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is Hong Kong. It's not part of China, of course. All right. Meister Common Sense rant. Yeah, all these people. Okay, so we're going to go to the questions real quick. And it's not like it's a secret that the Jews don't want you to go to Judea and Samaria. Go to Judea and Samaria, see it for yourself. Drive on the roads, and you'll be like, yeah, this is Israel. I was just in the pre-1967 part. Now I'm in this part. There's more Arabs in this part, and there's, you can see into the Nablus and these other towns, and you see donkey carts on the side. And you hear about Arabs jacking Jews in the middle of the night and stuff here and there once in a while. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, parts of it. But okay, so 31 days until 2020. Yeah, man. Then Bitcoin will be alive in 3 different decades. 2000s, that was 2009, 2010s, and 2020s. Good point, Rummy Q. What a time to be alive. It is quite a time to be alive. Lazor H said, Bitcoin Meister, Bitcoin holder received 10,000 hex for every 1 BTC. Are you participating? Dude, have you been watching the show for like the last 2 weeks? Yes, I am participating. Do we get 10,000? I don't care how many we get. We get something, and if people are foolish enough to give me Bitcoin for it, then hey, that's personal responsibility is a new counterculture. We've talked about check out the last disruptmeister.com. Scroll down, you'll see hexes in one of the titles. I talked about it, dude. But yes, I claim a free crypto dividend. Now the guy behind it, do I like him? No, I don't like the guy behind it. I think he's ridiculous. But yeah, and people are saying, well, if you claim it, you're going to put 90% of it is going to be staked automatically. Okay, I wasn't getting that 90%. I just care about what I'm getting. If he says 90% of it is staked, but I wasn't going to get it anyway. Okay, I'm not going to stake any of it that he's giving me. I'm turning it all into Bitcoin. People, I don't know why anyone would buy this thing at all. At all. Why buy something that you would buy for free? But it's an ego coin based on this guy's ego, based on these people blind following him. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he is going to win. He is going to win. Now, what he's doing? Is it exactly? I mean, he says all these big claims about it, how great it is. It's not great. It's just a regular altcoin. And well, everyone's staking. What's he going to be doing with it? I don't know. But people believe him. People believe fake Toshi also. People believe all these big egos, okay? And all these people who tell these tall tales and, act like they're big and great and everything. All right, 80%ers got to learn the hard way, all right? That's it. They're going to learn the hard way. So I said this on the show when I was talking about a hex that day. I know people don't like to hear it, but he is going to win in his own way, okay? He's going to make a lot of money off of this. A lot. And if he's going to give it to me for free, I'm going to take it for free, and I'm going to sell that as quick as possible. And I'm going to tell all of you that what's so special about it? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's just some weird crypto dividend that he comes up with all these gimmicks with it. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you how bad it really is. But at the same time, I'm saying I'm getting rid of it. Okay. So again, why would you pay anything for such a thing? Why? But to get it for free, why not? Why not get it for free? Okay. And why not? I'm not turning down free Bitcoin. And I'm giving out the warning there. I'm saying don't buy it. But people are going to buy it. People are going to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Just like I didn't know what I was talking about with BitConnect, right? Right? Same thing. Just like the BSV cult people say, you don't know what you're talking about. We got the real Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. I've never changed my ways. I said Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. Get the crypto dividends, turn them into Bitcoin, and ignore the crypto noise. And don't buy something that you get for free. And that hasn't changed at all. FM TV says, hey, Bitcoin Meister. So, what is this? Lazy MF said, it's all BS, Bitcoin Meister. It's wrote 100%. What's 100? I don't know what you're saying, Lazy MF, but you did say, you could type that over again and I'll read it. All right. Let's move on here. We got other beyond. We just talked about Hex. Now, the funny thing is when I talked about Hex last time, he tried to come on in the middle of the show. And I couldn't get him on in the middle of the show because the way the show was, again, now I can have live guests on again. All right. So then I could not, but I just fixed it up. And I'm not inviting him on the show either. I'm not inviting because I'm not doing a promo for that thing. I'm not doing it. But if I'm talking about it in the middle of the show and then he shows up in the chat or something like that, you should let him on the show if it's configured that way. Now, again, I'm not doing it through Jitsi right now, so I couldn't get him on now too, but it's really late at night. I hope to God he's not up now. All right, so I shouldn't be awake now. Pound that like button. All right, so we talked about Scott Adams. Oh, yeah, another North Korean Ethereum. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. But yeah, I think some people are wondering. There was a guy who's a big Ethereum guy. He went to North Korea and perhaps helped the government get cryptocurrency there. Yeah, that isn't a good idea. And he really he tweeted out he was going to do it. He totally admitted to the government what he did. I haven't read everything yet, but we will talk about that on tomorrow's show. I just want to say, I think it would be great if the people of North Korea got cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because it could lead them to freedom. Now, you got to be really silly to be an American citizen and make it look like you're helping the North Korean government when there's the United States has major sanctions, financial sanctions against them, and then you go to North Korea and perhaps help the government. It's just not a good idea. Okay, there are other ways you could help the North Koreans. That's not. Don't be a martyr, dude. And you could be a little bit too. I don't know if the guy was being too idealistic. He looks like he's really young. If he's naive, we'll talk about that on Sunday's show, though. Okay, RA803G said, if you learn how to refer yourself to Hex, the 30% extra you get for doing so isn't 90% stake. If you refer yourself, you can dump more. I don't know, dude. I'm not going to even. People ask me, can you demonstrate how to claim Hex? No, I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to have it. People figure it out for yourselves. I'm not giving that dude. I'm not, because it's just going to lead people to buying it and stuff. I'm not into helping him promote it. I mean, and that's what he's doing right now. He fooled Tone Vays into some debate that just helps promote his cause of and people. I didn't watch or anything, but it's a total waste of time. I know exactly how it's going to go. It's like debating King of the Trolls. Tone will be correct, but the other guy will keep saying the same thing over and over again. He'll say it forcefully. He'll personally attack Tone, blah, blah, bblah. And all the 80%ers will fall for it. And it just becomes an infomercial for this ridiculous thing. Ridiculous when King of the Trolls says Bcash is Bitcoin. It's ridiculous when Ego Coin guy says that this is like going to be better than Bitcoin or what. I don't even know what he says. All I know is a Bitcoin holder, you get it for free, and then you can turn it in, give it to his followers. His blind followers will give you Bitcoin for it on the exchange. Now, again, it could be, if it turns out to be all a big lie, like you can't even sell it on an exchange, then it is going to be a scam. But right now, the only thing that's scammy involving it is if you scam yourself by get what you get for free if you try to stake it and get more of it for free. Like, don't value your wealth in Hex. You value your wealth in Bitcoin. You get something for free, you turn it into Bitcoin immediately. You don't try to get more Hex. That's helping his cause, which is not a Bitcoin cause. I mean, Tizen has some great tweets about him because the Ego Coin guy has just changed his ways totally. If you look at the old video I posted of him, he was so pro Bitcoin, so against Ethereum, and now it's whatever way the wind blows. He comes out with his own thing. I mean, hey, compete, don't complain. I'm not complaining. He's competing. He knows how to get the 80%ers. He's very good at marketing. I said that before. He's very persuasive to 80 percenters. He knows how to do it. He talks a huge game. Well, there's a quote I'm going to say from Carl Denninger that kind of refers to the Hex ego coin guy. He wasn't talking about it, but it's similar. It really kind of describes him. But we'll get to that in a second. And talking about referrals and stuff, no, I'm not into any referral code stuff with that. That's very BitConnect-ish. Okay, that's just the pyramid scheme aspect of this of what he's doing. Again, I just treat it as a regular crypto dividend. You get it for free. That's it, and then you don't worry about all the other little gimmicks you can do with it. You get it for free. That's it. All right, bye. And hopefully, sadly, his people buy it now. And people are like, well, they're going to be losers. You see, that's not good. Well, let me tell you something. If it's on an exchange, people trade anything on exchanges. Okay. So people will buy, dog do coin and go back and forth with it. Okay. As long as they think they can make a couple more cents on it. That's just the way of trading. So if it goes to the exchange, traders are going to do what they're going to do. They're not getting ripped off in any way because they would trade dog do coin too. Or butt hair coin too. I mean, it's not hard. There's not a winner and a loser there. That traders are traders. That's what they do. That's part of the whole ecosystem. Are they going to stop doing what they're going to stop? Are they going to stop trading butt hair coin, cut your butt hair coin? Ever ripped hair out of your butthole coin? Pound that like button, pulling those pubes out. All right, now. Seriously, on your scrotum, have you ever just pulled one of them out? One of those just like stray ones out? That's a test of strength right there. Oh yeah, this is beyond Bitcoin. Pound that like button. And that's just a question for the guys. 99% of the people watching this right now are guys. So sorry to the ladies, talking about scrotum hair pulling. But I mean, you do some trimming down there too. I like the landing strip style. That's entertaining. Fire. But I'm not going to. All right. 80 percenters listen to Ego Coin Guy, Jim Jones, King of the Trolls. 20 percenters listen to Adam Meister. Pound that like button. Beautiful, roaming Jew. I like that one. And you got to be, and that's the thing. A lot of people are not happy with that situation. A lot of people on YouTube that are like, well, my numbers, why is this guy's number so high and mine so low? I'm like, that's like Stefan Molyneux there. Stefan Molyneux is going to get his loyal, smart people. What he's complaining about is that he's not getting 80 percenters as much. And we're going to talk about that in a second, what YouTube is doing to push the 80 percenters in a more corporate direction. And that's and because they can make more money off of it that way. And YouTube is a business. So they're going to lead the 80 percenters to places and suggest videos where they're going to keep clicking and going to stay on the platform. And it's more mindless, fancy graphic stuff. Whether it be in philosophy, whether it be in Bitcoin, whether it be in politics, whether it be in anything. YouTube, that's their strategy. And they're more 80 percenters than 20 percenters. So if you've got a 20 percenter audience, make the most of it, be happy with it. Know that you've got a loyal crew, that you can travel all around the world and they're going to support you in person. There's people with the 80 percenter crews, and it's not like people aren't going to come up and give them real support in person. It's going to be superficial because if you're giving out superficial vibes, you're only going to get back superficial vibes. If you're giving out vibes from the heart and you're talking to real smart people, that's who you're going to meet in person. That's who I was freaking hanging out with in Sydney. And again, also in Adelaide when Bitcoin to the Moon showed up, because he's a real person too. But I know right now I'm talking about a lady. Ladies don't like to watch. There are a few ladies that watch this. One in Sydney in particular, who, was a real person, a 20 percenter who this has really helped her out and stuff, all this stuff here. So, that's the type of people, and there's real meaning there with the 20% stuff. So I know there's a lot of people that try to produce 20% content, and then they're really frustrated that the 80% content is kicking their butt and it's moving more and more so in that direction. You've got success, dude. You've got success with what you're doing, getting the 20 percenters in. You just don't worry if you're not getting the 80% percenter stuff. That's not long-term thinking. Long-term thinking is my 20% core, how am I going to make the most of it? And what real life benefits does it give me? And it gives you a lot of real life benefits. It really, really does. So I love the 20 percenters. Pound that like button, people, because people, you got to say what you're really about. Be who you are, and you're going to get people who respect you for who you are. Now, if you're fake and you know how to get the clicks and you know how to do this, you're going to get a lot of people. You're going to get the 80 percenter not click mentality, gang mentality, whatever it is, herd mentality is what I'm like. This is not about being the herd. This is about being the Bitcoin overlay. This is fitting in is overrated. Fitting in is overrated. And so when Molyneux complains that, his viewers are, oh, YouTube is doing this, that, and the other to me, he's got to go back to basics there. Fitting, dude, you're not meant to fit in. You're meant to appeal to a certain thinking type of person that wants a certain way. And if YouTube isn't distributing your views the same way they were used to the 80%ers, then, oh, well, you're losing some mindless people. That's great. That's probably better for you. Just maximize what you got. All right. So we're going to talk about that in a second. How long has this show even been going now for? This is just a fun show here. Oh, wow. 40 minutes I've been talking. Well, tomorrow it's going to rain really hard in Baltimore, but I have to run. So no matter when I run, it's going to be raining on me. So I don't care when I get up tomorrow morning, but I got to run. So that's awesome. So this show can go, I'm not too, some of these nights I've been concerned about going up is I had to drive very far away places and go to events in Baltimore with family. And then when I was leaving Australia, your time was sensitive too, because you got to get to the airport. Now, tomorrow, time isn't very sensitive for me. So you're going to get some. I'm talking and talking tonight if you guys enjoy this type of thing. So there are a lot of you over there. And again, people are asking questions. You got to type in Bitcoin Meister for me to see you, or do a super chat. But I did see someone say butt hair coin. Yeah, that's a new one. Maybe scrotum hair coin can be one. Maybe Richard, that'll be his next crypto dividend. He can have Hex. If you hold Hex, you can get a free scrotum hair coin. And that'll incentivize more people to hold Hex so they can get their scrotum hair coin. Yeah, really. I mean, I'm sure if he said that, there'd be people that would rather get scrotum hair coin than sell their Bitcoin. I mean, that's just the way I can't explain it, dude. You can't fix everyone, okay? You got to take care of yourself first. And pull that scrotum hair. Ooh, it wakes you up, baby. All right. And again, people are probably saying, "Oh, how can you talk about that?" When kids are the teens or the 20s or whatever, we do all sorts of, we pull their nipple hairs out and stuff. We would do all tests of strength with each other. We wouldn't do the scrotum hair thing. We would talk about that in theory, I think. I mean, I obviously pulled a couple out. It hurts. Wakes you right up. You see the root too when you rip that thing right out. You guys know what I'm talking about. Everyone's done it. There's no shame in it. This is real, man. This is real. Okay, so we talked about Ethereum in North Korea, which we will talk about a lot more on the next show. All right, I want to talk about Buttigieg again. And everyone knows I talked about him last week. Again, check out disruptmeister.com. Watch the last two Beyond Bitcoin shows. It was a part 1 and a part 2, for those of you who like that. And I talked about how Black people don't seem to like Buttigieg. And the mainstream media is really jumping on that, because they have their own favorites. The Democratic core has their own favorite, and that's fine. They're going to play. Politics is a rough and tough, disgusting game where it's all about race and gender and all. It's such a waste of your time. But I want to talk about what I saw after I did this show. A couple days later, trending on Twitter is Pete Buttigieg, hashtag Pete Buttigieg is a lying MF, which again is a totally classless. It's classless to say something like that. Pete Buttigieg is a lying MF. But everyone was jumping on it. And the media was writing stories about it. It's to humiliate the guy and everything. And the guy who wrote the article was named Michael Harriot. And you got to give Pete Buttigieg credit here. He called the dude after. So that's class, okay? I don't like what Pete Buttigieg some of the stuff he stands for, okay? I'm not like blindly enthralled with him, like, oh, let's have the first gay president. I treat him as a man, respect. Man, I don't care who he's sleeping with. With Scott Adams is like, oh, it'd be so great to have a first gay president. Who cares? But we want the best darn person for the job. And he's a smart dude. He is an intelligent man. I will give him that. Now, again, what he's a master manipulator too. He was going a little left, and now he sees everybody else went left, so he's going center. So I don't exactly get. It's none of my business why the Democratic who's who in the Democratic Party don't want to jump on this guy's bandwagon, because I think they could do pretty well with him if they gave him. Because again, it's all about this race nonsense. They gave him a black vice president. If they gave him Cory Booker, he probably could beat Donald Trump. But again, who cares who becomes? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But this is a big business for the people who invest time into it. This has become such a ridiculous business. But I just want to say that This is Twitter at its worst with a hashtag like that, and it's politics at its worst too. Call it, it's a lying MF because he said something once. I don't even know what the whole logic behind it was, but to paint this guy as someone who doesn't like black people or whatever, to vilify him this way, it's so typical. It's just it's low class, that and it was deserved of that. It was a low class hashtag too, for the people who to say such disgusting. I don't use curse words at all, and this is part of the reason, because he's so low class. You got to be respectful, and you got to give Buttigieg credit for calling the guy. And then the guy wrote another article saying that he's a fighter. I don't know. Ben Shapiro was talking about. I didn't read any of the articles. I don't want to read an article by some guy who comes out with Pete Buttigieg is a lying MF. And then the whole media boost that thing like crazy. That didn't like go naturally viral. There's ways to boost stuff like that. Now again, I'm sure Buttigieg will, he's willing to do some dirty tricks and stuff also, because politics is disgusting. They're all liars. But it is just so I just want to point out the mindlessness behind it, because so many people jump on this bandwagon. Once that hashtag was out, Pete Buttigieg is a lying MF. So many people. And probably a lot of them were fake though anyway. But still, all these people, they just want to be in. They don't want to seem like they're for the white man. Because they're almost painting him as if he's a Republican, if he's a conservative. He's not. He's not at all. He says ridiculous things all the time in terms of government programs. But it's like, it's so how the herd operates. Their mentality is just like, we can't be with anything traditional anymore. Anything traditional. And that's like anything that's a man. No, we can't be with it. Anything that's sound thinking, that's logical thinking. We just want to call names and use swear words and stuff. And this was just an example of it. So I don't know. I mean, and then what Pete Buttigieg does, some of the things he does, that he's going to go to a black church on Sunday. I mean, that's fake also. If you're a Democrat, pick the best person. Pick the best person. Don't pick it based on like what color they are, and try to pick the smartest person. I mean, he definitely is the smartest. Yang and him seem to be the smartest ones. But I'm still registered as a Democrat, so if I vote, I'm voting for Yang, because I think he's the most real one. Also, he's the most real one, and he's not. I mean, in the Democratic primary, that's if I'm in Maryland. I don't know what day it even is. If I get the absentee ballot, and voting doesn't matter. It really does not matter. But people ask the question. But this is more of a social commentary about how the herd operates on Twitter, and how some people can write these low class articles and just it's great. Oh, what a wise article. MF. What a wise hashtag. MF. So let's talk about some emotion that's in politics, and this is from a Fox News. Let me check out something here since we're live. Okay. Keep on pounding that like button, people. Spread the word about this stuff. And give me some feedback. Do you like the Saturday shows? Some people dislike the Saturday shows. That's why I'm doing on Saturday, because not many people watch on Saturday as many people. So you experiment on Saturday. So no, Beyond Bitcoin show isn't going anywhere. But feedback is nice, and spread the word. And maybe there are other topics you want me to talk about. Because I talk about health, a little politics. About my places I've traveled where I've actually seen how it operates. I talked about Israel, but I've talked about Zimbabwe, and how when I was in Zimbabwe, the United States dollar, that is what they used. And that the evil Robert Mugabe had to wake up every single morning and, look in his wallet and look at George Washington and know that all his people were looking at George Washington, and that his communist regime they all had to look at George Washington, and the capital and the greatest regime, the capitalist regime in the United States, the most powerful country of all time. All the hate that he spewed and all the land that he took away from his people, he couldn't get away from looking at what the best option for freedom in the world of the last 50 years, which is the United States, and that he could, to the day he died, he had to rely on that U.S. dollar, and that his system was a completely worthless system, because his people needed that U.S. dollar to survive. And that's something that I witnessed there, and that there were a lot of good people in Zimbabwe. It was they didn't like their leader; they didn't like him at all. But it's just that was the way it was. And then they ended up with worse leaders, which is very sad. Also, all right, moving on. this is talking about emotional articles. This is about Kamala Harris. And someone in her campaign just quit. And I had a different takeaway. When I read articles like this that get thrown in my face, I have different takeaways than most people. This is my third presidential campaign, and I have never seen an organization treated staff so poorly, Kelly Mellenbacher said. Then she was the state operations director for Harris's campaign, said in a letter obtained by the New York Times. All right. So she's ripping on Kamala Harris. She says that it was run poorly and everybody was treated poorly. But my big takeaway was that this woman, Mellenbacher, said this was her third presidential campaign that she has worked for. Oh, God. This has become such a huge business. Every 4 years, it's not every 4 years. It's a constant thing. You can be a forever employee of presidential campaigns to presidential campaigns. These things are so big and so money intensive that you could have a long history of working for many of them through the years. Go from one to the other. So they want that system to keep growing, the bureaucracy around that, just to make the whole drama longer and longer. I mean, we're in 2019. It's not even the election year yet. And everyone's been talking about it for so long. And it's a huge business. It doesn't really produce anything. It lives off of the government. It's all about, we're all going to get government jobs if we win this and steal from the taxpayers. So its base is not productivity because government jobs are not productive. But I mean, there is this whole huge, tremendous capitalistic ecosystem built around these campaigns. I mean, they are pulling in a lot of money and paying a lot of people to work for them. And so they just want this to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't want anything to do with it, man. But my takeaway from this is, yeah, okay, you're bitter at Harris. That's great. Now you sent a letter to New York Times somehow to just get revenge. But you're a person who has worked in this industry. You're like a veteran of this horrific presidential election industry. We have a presidential election industry in the United States now where you can work for it for 12 years straight and work for 3 different campaigns and just keep going and going and go. Oh, God, what a job. What a job. And it's, again, the people are fueling, and regular people are fueling this. I said about Pete Buttigieg the other day, he has raised so much money from men who have no kids. And so instead of buying Bitcoin, they're giving Pete Buttigieg $3,200 or whatever it is, $2,300, because they feel just because they're gay, it would be cool to have a gay president. Now, if they think because he's not changing their lives. If you're already a gay man who can afford to give $2,300 to Pete Buttigieg, he's not going to change you. He's probably going to make your life worse. He's going to tax you more, man. So that solidarity that you feel with him because he's gay, you better be careful. It's just like, should I feel solidarity with Bernie Sanders because he's Jewish? Heck no. There are Jews who are smart and think that. They're not very smart though, are they? I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. He's like freaking communist. He will. So a guy like me who's productive, I'm going to get taxed more by my supposed fellow Jew. He's a Jew hater, but he is Jewish. He is Jewish. You could be a self-hating Jew, which Bernie Sanders is. He definitely is a self-hating Jew. But I mean, it would be, would I give him $2,300 just because he's Jewish? No, it's ridiculous. It's just like the gay dude giving Buttigieg $2,300 because I want the first Jewish president. What's the first Jewish president mean to me? It's going to be horrible for me. It'll be terrible for me. In a lot of ways. First of all, now all the haters will have, even more reason to blame the Jews on everything if there's a Jewish president. Oh my God, look how they took over. You see, their master plan they finally got one in the White House. You see, we were right all along about those Jews. Oh yeah, you'll hear it all. But no, it would be in terms of what I'm supposedly going to be taxed at. Any of the Democrats that are running, Bloomberg, Sanders, the other one that I can't, Steyer is also Jew. They'll tax the heck out of all their fellow Jewish people. Yeah. But again, I roll with the punches. If I need to get out of here, and I'll get out of here. I've got my Bitcoin. That's the thing that's the most important. You got your Bitcoin and you can start over again. So I shouldn't say it's going to be horrible for me. That is overreaction. Remember, I'm just saying what they want to do is horrible to me. They want to steal. They want all the whole Democrats. It's just tax. It's horrible. It's theft. That's theft. If it's an Asian guy stealing from you, if it's a Jewish guy, if it's a gay guy stealing from you, it's theft, and I'm not for theft. All right, Roman Q said the only YouTube and podcast I listen to are Bitcoin related. Your Saturday shows are my only sources for politics. Cool, man. Similar to me there, dude. I only go to I like the Ben Shapiro, Scott Adams a little bit, and then all the other stuff gets into philosophy and is way beyond politics. Oh my God, who was that guy Ben Shapiro had on his Sunday show? Oh, that guy was wacky. I hadn't heard of that dude before. He had some interesting philosophy. I meant to talk about that guy this week. I guess that's for next week. Oh, well. Okay. Check out Ben Shapiro's Sunday special from last Sunday. It's an interesting guy. And then Google that guy. He's got some interesting stuff out there, interesting takes on religion. And all right. So yeah, when I read these some of these articles that are trying to rip on certain and I don't like Kamala Harris at all, but I just like the things that pop up for me are just like, God, this woman's worked for 3 different campaigns because things never going to end. So something I took away from the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie, they mentioned Paul Revere and the Raiders a few times, which was a band that was popular probably a little bit before 1969 and probably died down in 1969. They wrote that song Kicks, which is about drugs. I used to love about not doing drugs, actually, about drugs ruining people's lives. They had already noticed it, I think, in 1965 when they wrote that song. I used to sing that song at karaoke, Kicks by Paul Revere and the Raiders. And they were kind of making fun in the movie that Paul Revere and the Raiders was kind of considered, I guess, corny by 1969. But I love it. Again, I haven't listened to it for over a year. Soon I'll be able to listen to music again, thank God. But if you guys can, look at Paul Revere and the Raiders. I think some of their it is kind of, it's right before psychedelic stuff started, and it is kind of corny sounding, but it's good. It's entertaining, and I think they might even played some of the songs in the movie now in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Again, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a good movie if you are familiar with the history of Charles Manson and all the people that were around him, and Sharon Tate and you can look it up before you watch the movie, and you'll have a much better understanding of the movie. Because I've seen people review it who don't know anything about Sharon Tate or Charles Manson, and they don't get the movie. They're like, it's boring and it's long and blah blah blah. Blah. It's not if you know the history. And something I didn't mean to write down, but I always say those dudes are good actors, DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. And I know they are so mainstream and their political views or whatever. But they are good. They get you. You don't think like this is Leonardo DiCaprio when he's acting. You think he's playing this role in this movie of this washed up movie star from the 1950s who's in the 1960s now. But keeping that in mind, so there are good actors out there. But the scary thing is not all good actors go to Hollywood. Not all good actors become actors. Some people go about their real lives acting as other people, and they can just trick you, and they can just go from part to part and just be completely different people. And it's definitely a talent when you use it in a productive manner to become a famous movie star and to entertain people on the stage. But there's some people that have that same talent. They can use it for some pretty bad ways. And I can usually tell when I think I can tell when someone's a fake and an actor. But so many people can't. So you do wonder, like, how can these people try to carry out these big lies like fake Toshi and stuff? Well, he's got that mentality. Like, I'm playing this role. I'm an actor. I don't think he's a very good actor. Some people fall for it. Now another thing is, I think you can tell how sincere someone is if you like try to get them to be an actor. Like, imagine me trying to be an actor. Try to play a role on stage. Every time you'd be like, what the heck is this? That's Adam Meister. Why is he on there? Like, no, he's not a cowboy. That's Adam Meister. So yeah, I am not a good actor. I'm not a good actor. So what you see here is what you get in person. I can't, it's a skill. It definitely is a skill. It can be used in bad ways. It can be taken to horrible extremes. It really can be. But so if you do think about how good of an actor your favorite actor is, then think about someone in real life using those skills to just do bad things. It's kind of, it's freaky. Don't worry about it though. But It made me think. All right, in the title, I have it says "Okay Doomer," and that's a play on this "Okay Boomer" thing. I think "Okay Doomer" is a good reply to if someone's just sending you all this fear, PORN, and doom, PORN. All these gold doomers who are just like, when's it going to end? The whole system's going to crater. The dollar is about to hyperinflate. Their whole reality revolves around everything falling apart. Revolves around negativity. They are the doomers. Okay, and you just say, okay, doomer, okay, doomer. But I heard this term, okay, doomer, on Scott Adams' podcast. When someone said that Greta, that they could call it that Greta girl. What's her name? Greta Thunberg, the climate change girl warrior. They should just say okay doomer to her. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. She's similar to a doomer, a doom PORN guy. And you think of doom PORN people as men that have just been waiting around for years for the whole system to collapse. But she's very similar to that. She's saying the whole system is the whole world climate is going to collapse. The whole world's ending. Negative, negative, negative. Tear it all down. Tear down capitalism. Tear down this. Tear it down. The world won't be at peace until it's all torn. So we can start all over again and live like the animals. I mean, and that's basically the way the gold people are ever going to, the gold doomers will ever be successful. If there's a nuclear war and then we're just all like trading gold like cavemen and stuff. She wants to be a caveman just like them. And so it's very, some of the climate people have a lot in common with the doomers. So you just say they're their own form of doomer. So okay, doomer. Okay, doomer to them. Okay, doomer to the doomers. Hey, be in motion, people. Be productive. Stop trying to tear down, build up, be productive. It's just like what I was saying with the Arabs from Gaza. They're trying to tear down. They want to tear down Tel Aviv. All right. And their supporters do too. These communist supporters in America who you can see it on Twitter with the popular hashtags that deal with the Israel hatred. They show the whole land of Israel in the Arab flag. And it's to tear it down. There would be no more Tel Aviv. They'd have their own thing. I mean, Israel, because these people have never been to Tel Aviv. They don't understand. Like, would you rip down Miami and then give it to the Seminole tribe? Does that seem like a good idea? Let's rip down Miami and Tampa Bay and give it to the Seminoles. If the Seminoles started bombing us, if the Seminole tribe started bombing us, we should just be like, you know what? Let's just give them Tampa and Miami and tear it all down, and they can have a teepee there. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it's ridiculous to us. But if you hate Western society so much, if you're so envious of a certain people, of a certain way of life, of a certain productivity, of winners, if you're so envious of them, and you think things are so unfair, that you've been treated wrong, and that you can't fix yourself, you're going to want to tear the winners down, when instead you should be trying to build yourself up. That's what it all boils down to in so many situations. So I just tied some things together there. So strive for success. That should be your strategy. Okay. People respect success. They really, and then people are envious of success too. It's the people with success that are constantly being attacked. But you got to ignore the haters. And in certain situations, they're physically violating you. You got to pound back at them. Okay, hardcore. But hopefully it doesn't get that. Usually it's all theoretical stuff. It is just verbal sparring. And again, 33% of people are going to hate you. 33% of people are going to hate you. Most of your friends don't care a thing about what you're producing anyway. So, be proud of yourself. There are people, though, many people, fellow 20%ers, that respect success. When you have success, you are happy. You define your own success. Okay, you define what success is to you in terms of productivity. And so when you have a system, again, my system is produce a new show every day. And it has gotten me so many opportunities. It's done so well. Different thing. You make your own system where you do something every day. You just follow that. And so every day there's a victory. Every day you have success because you follow that system. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Because again, if you have some long-term goal, and it's great to have a long-term goal, but you only have a goal. You don't get that goal every day. You don't get that goal every day. And again, it's great to have, you want to have this many Bitcoin in the future, so you'll be a millionaire. That is great, but you got to have a system of getting there. Like, well, I'm going to watch X amount of shows today, or I'm going to buy this many sats every day, or I'm going to save this much in fiat every week. I'm going to not eat this many meals every day. It could be a subtraction victory also. Like, All right, I'm not going to, instead of smoking a pack today, I'm going to smoke a half pack today. Or, instead of eating a sandwich today, I'm just eating meat today. I'm getting rid of bread for today. This is just something, even an elimination that can be success. Again, you define success your own way. But if you've got a system that is getting you, that is improving, you are going to get those goals. You will get those goals. But you gotta have a system so you have that success every day. All right. Then we've talked about this before, but I wanted to bring it again. So it's just strive for success. Don't be ashamed of success. We live in this victim mentality where everybody loves to get on the victim train, and they don't even realize what a ridiculous train they're getting on. I mean, again, give Miami to the Seminoles. It's the same thing. Give Tampa to the Seminoles. Blow up Tampa and give it to the Seminoles. And that's victim mentality. We'll see. All right. So Scott, I brought this up earlier with Scott Adams. I linked to his video below at the 11:48 mark. He talks, because there are a lot of people who are saying this YouTube is discriminating against conservatives. And he's just saying that, and I agree with what he says here, that YouTube is not, they don't like low production value anymore. They want fancy sets and graphics. So Scott Adams does not have fancy sets and graphics. He says his views have been going down. YouTube wants TV quality production sets, okay? And they know that a lot of 80%ers blindly drool over that stuff and will keep clicking over from one fancy graphic thing to another fancy graphic thing to another fancy graphic video, okay? That kind of looks like TV. Instead of looking at Scott Adams in his kitchen, or me, in a white room with black curtains. All right. But pound that like button. And so what else is it? So I said before, Scott's got to find his niche. And Scott Adams is trying to do all these experiments to prove if he's right about this. The cool thing about YouTube still to this day, YouTube wants to be like TV, okay? They want to be like cable and regular TV in terms of the ratio of actual smart program to mindless programming, okay? I mean, you can call it like the PBS ratio. On TV right now, you can watch PBS and learn some stuff. Now, again, it's pretty slanted too. But what percent of all the stuff on TV is like learning and PBS type of stuff? And how many people really watch that stuff? Numbers are incredibly low. On YouTube, it's mostly 80% stuff now anyway. There's a lot of like cat videos and all that stuff. But the percentage of smart stuff is much higher than on TV, okay? And people are stumbling upon it. People are going to it. People are choosing to go to it. But YouTube wants to not promote that stuff at all, especially if it doesn't look very good. And so the algorithm, they program the algorithm to push the more corporate stuff because they know that sells. And then people follow it. People are being programmed. The people that are programmable, they follow that algorithm well. And it gives good feedback to the algorithm. So this isn't a sinister thing they're doing at all. They want to make as much money from the masses that they want to make. I mean, they want to beat TV in a way. I mean, they don't care about the intelligence level of the stuff they're putting out there. They care about the clicks and the advertisements they can sell and just the number of eyeballs they can get. And if it's working with the mindless stuff, then that's what they're going to go with, and that is what they're going with. So I don't really think they're necessarily targeting conservatives in a grand conspiracy. I think it's noticeable in some conservative parts of YouTube, definitely. But this is all about the bottom line here, and this is their rules. And so if you've got a 20% niche like I do, like Scott does, like Stefan does, you just tell people other places you can be watched. I say, again, go to sportsmeister.com, go to my podcast. I do great with the podcast also. All right. In terms of and again, I am not relying on these finances either. So this is why a lot of other people are much more emotional about this and get into panic mode. I don't need any of the money that I get from YouTube or the podcast at all. I don't need any of it. It's not that much either. But there are people that have been really affected by the change in them pushing this more corporate look. I mean, there have been kids, young people I heard that have. I don't know if they killed themselves, but they've thought about it, and it's just really sad type of stuff. So, and again, this has affected people who are making kids videos, because that stuff isn't very professional now, and that could be a little controversial. That, you know, and copyright infringements and stuff. So those people have been demonetized. Just, you got to get your audience ready to go to somewhere else or to support you. If you need money from them, ask them to send via Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a great way. Or just be creative about the whole situation. If you have loyal, just get the people that are loyal to you will support you. But don't try to become corporate. Don't change your ways. That's not the way. That's not the solution. Be who you are. You will still get the same people. Sure, you're not going to get as many 80%ers, but you weren't probably making much off them anyway, or they weren't adding to your success in the same ways that your 20%ers are. So YouTube. What I suggest to the viewers out there, the people that are between 80%ers and 20%ers, if you're on YouTube, you go to people's channels that you like and look at their videos and pick out their videos that you like. Instead of like watching a video and then seeing like the 9 videos that get popped up on your screen and then selecting one of them and going to one of the suggested videos, try to use your head. Try to plan it out. Try to have a set schedule of videos that you go to, some channels that you check out every single day or every other day, things that are thought-provoking. Because if you don't, and you just let the algorithm decide, you're going to soon forget about some of those channels, okay? Some people are, at least. And that's just the direction YouTube is going in. They are, whether people like it or not, people can fall into a trance where YouTube is telling them what to watch. Quite a few people. And they're very good at that. And they want a professional look, and they want a way to just get people drooling, so they click on the next one, so they get the most views. And that's their business model. And there's nothing wrong with that business model. And you just got to find fixes around it to as a creator, and as a viewer too, because you want to keep on educating yourself. You don't want to get caught in their algorithm where you're not learning anything anymore, where you're all of a sudden saying, yeah, I want to buy Hex or something like that. I mean, that's when you know you've fallen off the cliff. All right, pound that like button. And I wanted to say, in my podcast, if you go there, I posted one. I'm in motion, dude. Right before I made this video, I thought about when I was in Texas in 2015, how I got stopped at a federal checkpoint in Cerrito, Texas, which is about 100 miles from the border. I never even left the country. And I made a video about it in 2015. I just put it in the podcast form. Check out sportsmeister.com. And it's linked to below also. It's only 10 minutes for those of you who've never heard that story. It's a true story that happened to me. And I don't do any drugs or anything like that. But you'll see what happened. But yeah, and always check out my podcast. That's a way to diversify for a guy like me, just in case YouTube shuts me off or whatever. I don't know. But I don't hate YouTube at all. Like, some of these people have got this like bitter anger and like let the government take over YouTube. Now, this is their business model. Let them do their darn business model. They're 80% business model. Just like they're going to be like TV, and it is, the PBS ratio isn't like that yet. There is still plenty of awesome quality stuff on YouTube in so many different genres, whether it be in Bitcoin or philosophy or in space. I love the stuff, the space stuff. There's some mindless space stuff too, though. You'd be surprised. People that just do fancy sets and graphics and regurgitate articles from like 10 months ago. But no, Isaac Arthur is awesome, and Fraser Cain is awesome, and John Michael Gautier. They are awesome space guys. They are smart guys that read papers. Well, first of all, Isaac Arthur is a freaking genius. He's smarter than those other two. He is unbelievable mind. My lord, my lord. I wonder what his IQ is. He knows all physics. I mean, it's something to behold. It's something, and he's a modest man too, very modest. But he is a freaking genius. I don't know if he knows how smart he is. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. Oh, it's just so sad. He should be. I wish he was in charge of the space policy of the world, but there is no one in charge of the space policy of the world. All right, we don't have dictators here. So someone should fund that dude. Give that guy a business, man. Give Isaac Arthur say, Isaac, we figure out a way to get people on Venus by the year 2025, and we'll have people on Venus. Yeah, some billionaire. Maybe if I ever become a Bitcoin billionaire, that's what I'll do. That would be an awesome thing to do. To say, here, Isaac Arthur, here's here's $10 billion, put a guy on Venus, figure out a way, and you're gonna set the whole thing. He could do it. That dude is unbelievable. I know some of you aren't interested in that stuff, but you should watch his channel. What's it called? Space and Futurism with Isaac Arthur. And he's got a speech impediment. So some 80%ers will be like, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. I can't take his speech impediment." Which is so that's why people fail in life, because superficial stuff like that turns them off, and then they don't learn from people like Isaac Arthur. But if you can listen to him like a normal person can listen to someone with a speech impediment, you'll be like, "Oh my God, this guy's a freaking genius." He has to be the smartest guy the smartest productive guy. There's some people on YouTube that I don't know. What's his face might be smarter. Well, Eric Weinstein could be smarter in a different realm, but he's annoying. he's maybe he's not as smart. I don't know who's got a smarter IQ. How can I judge people with like IQs over 170? Which one's the smarter one, really? I don't know. I can't figure that out. Who can figure that out? They're two different men. They're two different. I prefer Isaac Arthur to Weinstein. All right. All right. So we talked about. So I talked about my pod, that Sarita, Texas thing. We still have people in the chat. People are just. Let me see. I hope everyone's playing this at 2x, because this is a long show. At 2x, any show, Stephen Molyneux's videos are long, but they're short at 2x. I can play Isaac Arthur at 2x too, by the way, even with a speech impediment. I understand it fine. Sometimes I got to do 1.75x, but I mean, it depends it depends on a couple things. But I hope you're playing this at 2x. And Ben Shapiro, I play at 2x. It's so people are like, I can't listen to a 55-minute show. Well, then you play it at 2x. It's what is it, 22 minutes? Excuse me, it's what is that? 27 and a half, whatever it is. Whatever. What 27 plus 27 is? Yeah, 50. Yeah, 27 and a half minutes. Sorry. Don't you know what I'm doing? Hey, Adam, you rock. Thank you. Listening to you at 2x can be daunting. Same as Ben Shapiro. Wait, MTMD, are you an American or are you not an American? I mean, I know Ben and I talk fast. That's why playing us at 2x, it might be a little hard. You are an American. Okay, well, yeah, I guess. Besides, again, British people, I've got a Baltimore accent too. That's pretty bad. Oh, you're from MD, dude. I guess I just talk too. I talk too fast for you. I mean, it can be daunting. I guess not everyone's got a different intake with the 2x, but you can listen to me at 1.75x, right, man? Or you could build up the resistance. You do it 1.5 one show, and then 1.75, and then you're ready for Meister at 2x. All right. You talk fine, says Adriana Bellotti. Now, she's been on the show before. She's in Sydney. She's awake now. It's I don't even know what day it is there now. I guess it's later on Sunday. I saw her place. She gave me the Satoshi shirt. I mean, she was on the show before. You get to check it out. She was on This Week in Bitcoin was a few weeks ago with Hass McCook was on. Yes, the women are on this show, and most of the guys, you hear a woman's on the show, you're going to go watch it right now. So go watch her. And she's from Brazil originally. Brazilian lady, you know it. She, she's great, but she moved to Australia. She knows the Bitcoin ways. She knows. She says I talk fine. Okay, I talk fine. I talk all right. Because you're from Brazil, you've had to get used to all these accents: the Australian accent, the Baltimore accent. All right. All right, let's see what else we have here. Well, wait, you said MTMD says it's all good. I generally listen to the podcast, so it's a little different than watching. Good. I'm glad you don't need to see me. Who the heck needs to see me? Oh God, my hair's a mess. No. Okay, I hope you can play the podcast faster. I think under certain times you can. I've never even experimented, but some people say you can. Okay, we're getting. Where are we going to make? What are we going to hear? It's just goes to show you. Oh, here's a quote from Market Ticker from Carl Denninger. And he was talking about a guy who lived a very flashy lifestyle who ended up with nothing. It just goes to show you that while a lot of people do appear very flashy and make all sorts of claims, more often than you think, they're just flat out full of crap. So yeah, that goes back up to my, I was talking about Ego Coin guy before. Supposedly he's made a bunch of tremendous claims and acts very flashy. I don't know. I don't know his personal life. I don't care about his personal life. But usually if someone's acting flashy, is driving the Lambo and, acting all big. They're making it, they're faking it to making it, and they often are just flat out full of crap. I've talked to people who've worked at banks before, and they say the people with the big bank accounts are like these little old men driving like escorts that come in that have just been saving for years and years, wearing jeans from 1995. So those people have a lot, but you would never guess it. And it's kind of the way the work. There are plenty of people that do dress flashy that are wealthy, but a lot of the times, especially in this credit card world that we're living in, no, they're faking it. But a good point. So yeah, there could be a lot of fancy sets and graphics on the internet. In the crypto world, a lot of people acting real fancy, like they did real well. But that doesn't mean you should be like, oh wow, they said to buy this 5th tier altcoin. They look like they're pretty rich. They got a nice fancy sets and graphics. They're telling me to do risky things. Look at all the things they did. They didn't just hold. They didn't just boring hold. Look, they got this whole setup where you trade and you flip and you only hold for a month and then go to this exchange, that exchange, and 6th tier altcoin, 7th tier altcoin, the staking this and lending out your money and getting percentages. Oh, and they got a nice car and the production quality. They must be successful. Nah, be careful. Be careful. But hey, personal responsibility is a new counterculture. I just like boring. I like buy and hold. Pretty easy strategy. I know it's not too fancy. No fancy sets of graphics here, as you know. Okay, we got more people here. Okay, I'll read this from MTMD since he's from Maryland. He says, Richard Hart sits on a throne in his videos. Laugh out loud. Can't get more flashy. Okay, I'll leave it at that. I think that speaks volumes right there. Okay, final thing of it here. A tweet that I found because Fox News wrote about this because they're trying to make it like a liberal person is against Democrats or something. It's a tweet. Well, this is not the tweet they actually tweeted out. It was another Sean Lennon. Sean Lennon, for those of you who don't know, is the son of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And he's just a regular dude, a regular musician guy. And again, he gets a lot of hate because of who his mom is. And when his father was killed and he was like a little kid, like kids in his school were making fun of him and stuff. It's like, just because you're and I want to say this, kids of celebrities, if you don't like their celebrity parents, you don't get to hate them, okay? You don't get to like throw vile insults at them. They're regular people. Just because their parent and just because they didn't become as famous as their parents, just leave them alone. You don't have to get pleasure out of attacking them and calling them names and saying they're losers and laughing at them because their father got assassinated and stuff. I mean, what a world we live in. Anyway, I don't really care much about Sean Lennon and all his liberalness and whatever he's into and being a freaky musician, whatever he is. But he made a comment about Democrats that wasn't positive. So Fox put it in there. And then I checked out some of his other tweets. I didn't care about that one. And here, what's his tweet here? He says, well, first of all, it inspired me to think that in the year 2024, presidential political debates, I wonder if they're going to be as big as they are now. Because they're not too big now. They're losing meaning, which I think is awesome. So what he said is, Joe Rogan interview of Bernie Sanders had more views than the last Democratic debates on MSNBC. And then he was praising Andrew Yang for the smackdown of MSNBC. So, I mean, first of all, you got to give Sean Lennon credit because you would think in his herd, you couldn't insult MSNBC or praise Andrew Yang, but he says, he brings up a very interesting point that, and I brought something similar up this before, that these people running for office, if they want, now is a time where more and more 80%ers, more and more voters of the voting, and some voting people are 20%ers, whatever. The voting population is paying much closer attention to videos and podcasts. So Tulsi and Andrew Yang and even Bernie Sanders got on the Joe Rogan, and they're getting on the other one, Scott Adams, maybe. So maybe by 2024, that'll just be old-fashioned debates. We have seen, and just all these if you want to be a legitimate politician, you got to get on certain YouTube channels or certain podcasts. And I think that would be pretty cool because these debates are mindless. You get like a 1-minute clip. And that's Andrew Yang has been, pointing that out a lot. And so, I love how the internet is revolutionizing the whole world. And again, I'm not a political fan, but I think it brings a little bit more realism to politics. It gets rid of the fakery a little bit more. If now these politicians have to sit down for like hour-long interviews instead of giving these mindless sound bites. Kamala Harris trying to come up with a 1-minute thing that'll propel her back into this, the call Tulsi a spy or whatever. Imagine if Kamala had to sit down for a real interview. Oh God, it would be brutality. No one would want to. But most people, again, aren't paying attention to these real interviews yet. But Sean Lennon did point out that Bernie Sanders one got more views than the debate itself on TV. So the world is changing, and I'm glad to be part of the greatest part of the change of this world, of this golden age, and that is Bitcoin. And so you can't predict. I mean, back in 2012, you could never predicted this situation that maybe in 2024, presidential debates would be a thing of the past. So we don't know what's coming in 2020. That's what I love about being alive, that you cannot predict the next innovation. So that is the anti-doom right there. That's in motion. I'm in motion. That's why Greta is a doomer. The gold buggers are doomers. They're not into like, oh, what's the latest innovation going to be? They're like, well, what's the way? How's the world going to fall apart? How's the world going to fall apart? So I'm confident in things getting better. They're confident in the world falling apart, and we'll see. All right, that is it. Everyone's talking in the chat, but there are no questions, but very good. I'm Adam Meister. That was a long one. The Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the links below. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt. I'll show you the shirt. Pound that like button, bang that bell button, click on that square, and I will say good night and hello to everyone in the chat. Actually, my hair looks real nice. It'll be messy tomorrow once it starts pouring rain. The Cold November Rain, even though it'll be December. All right, Cold November Rain, good song by Guns N' Roses. Good video. You got to love at the end when he freaking breaks it down. When they break it down like Stairway to Heaven. They tried to make that thing like Stairway to Heaven. They really did. And his woman at the time is pretty darn hot. She was a model, Axl Rose's. I think he may have. I don't want to say any accusations. We won't leave the show. We'll leave the show on a positive note. She was freaking hot model. Watch the video. Yeah, they were trying to copy Stairway to Heaven with that ending, but they break it down in Cold November Rain. All right, see ya. Bye. And Guns N' Roses, they were good in before he went crazy. All right, bye-bye.